Hello YouTube, Ronan Kazi. Like this legendary, a perfect start to the video. Legendary Capital. So we did this relatively fast, but I sped it up to keep it in a reasonable amount of time. Started off with 3 relatively low level people and myself. This is the classic place to fight from. You don't fight from the back. You put a couple turrets up on that crest of that hill and you're going to knock people off that bridge, moving in and out, strafing and knocking people off. You're not going to push. You are just going to go about this far to, in my case, I have to proc my various things. This is my damage build with waveform and momentum. So once I put once I put a status effect on them, then I go to test subject and I rinse and repeat every 27 seconds until done. We're waiting for a 4th. I'm really happy with how we started. One of the people is a healer. He's the lowest level. Kudos to him. If you're low level, that's what I tell you to do. There was a Chunga coming. That's one of the first DPS checks. We passed. The other person is a future initiative. So we got a bunch of skill builds in here and we're taking care of business. Now we get a 4th. This person is going to have artillery. So I don't have to go max DPS. So I will switch when I can to go to Vile Jammer and to knock down any of the drones or electronics. And now our healer went offline. And they're going to eventually drop, and then they're eventually going to try to get into another group. And lo and behold, you get stuck with us again. I had to wait a long time to get in the group, relatively speaking. It's still early in the week. You want to run legendaries, there's always a good time, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday when people have time to invest in a legendary. We went relatively fast through here. Sometimes I wonder if in the later stages, if I just played more DPS, will we get done faster? But I just locking the dogs down and locking the drones down, it's no pressure then. And that's our healer came back into the group. I was going to say something, but that'd be kind of jerkish. So this first section, you fight from this left side. The first wave is out there. The second wave is a Chunga and 2 dogs. And then you're going to go and you'll watch me start the next section. I don't think my turret goes in the right spot, so I'm going to have to pick it up and redo it. So we're on to the next section. Now what some people have done is they run all the way to the front in the beginning and then doesn't spawn that middle section. I'll have to try it at a certain point, but if I had a clan, I would try it with a clan. Maybe they wouldn't let me. Maybe they told me I'm stupid and not to do it. Again, in this part, you're watching for both sides. You can see that the rest of the group is fanned out and back so they can get anyone that tries to sneak around to the left, so we're not going to get flanked. And what we'll do is we'll slowly shape the battlefield and we'll push them in the back left corner. Because no one's pushing on that back left corner, it allows us to get them all into that back left corner. I don't know who's hitting me, but I get out of there. And now at this point, as I come around here, you can see what we're fighting. That guy's going to go down. Now at this point, this is like textbook clearing this, by the way. Except for that part. Shouldn't have pushed Ronan. Stupid. All right. Now, what people do in this part is they glitch through the fence and go up and set up. The other high level player is going to do it. They're like level 6,000. They go to it, and I'm going to embarrass myself now. This is on high speed. So, Ronin. So now I'm in my Vial Jammer build and fail, and fail, and fail, and fail. And I'm going, okay, maybe I didn't go to the right thing. Meanwhile, this guy's like, F it, we're just going to do it, and fail. So I'm going to go up. Sometimes I make a mistake here. I just get my turret out no matter what because I want to stop people from running. But this guy's already putting them on the defensive. And with that pulse, it's over. You can hear how fast it went because the copter's already coming in. And that high-level Samantha goes between a Sticky Bomb and Seekers. So they're great. They have a great build, and they're doing great. Healer's doing great. It's a really good group. I go back because I see this person. I want to help and provide support on the flank. I still have an Unbreakable left, so I'll be a little bit more gung-ho. And there we go, cleared. In between these battles, I sped it up instead of cutting it out. You're not losing that much time. A lot of times I like to show you the whole video so there's just no doubt what's going on. If I switch gear, you get to see I switch gear. So here's the mental calculation I'm doing in this part. We have enough DPS, so how are we going to kill that jammer pulse? So I'm going to go to my tank build. Always getting gear because, sorry YouTube for my indiscretions. So I'm going to switch while we got it. And there's my tank build. Used to have a lot more builds. I've reduced a lot of the gear that I have, and I got 3 builds that I stick with. And so if you look, I only got like 60 or 70 pieces in my backpack. And I've tried to reduce everything. I have Ridgeway. I had a brain fart the other day. I couldn't remember what I had. Ridgeway is a chest piece I have on this piece, on this tank build. I have improvised pieces. And I'm switching my gun from test subject to a submachine gun that will do extra damage on a bleed because I'm going to put bleeds on people. This tank build isn't a tank build to go out there and engage them. This is a tank build to stay in front of the door and help pick people up and not get myself killed. And with a healer, this build's pretty phenomenal because they're getting my health, and then I have an Artificer Hive to pick up my shield. And yellows, right, I know to go after yellows. And purples I'll really go after because, and reds. Reds don't hurt me, but purples are the ones that I got to keep an eye out for. And what's supposed to keep my health up is the Ridgeway. It does a shitty job at that, so I don't know at this point if it's more of a placebo than anything. Could be. You know, this is one of the things that they had a parse. I'd like to see how much healing I get versus my inherent healing I have on my armor. I might get rid of Ridgeway. Maybe I should practice doing that now that I'm saying that out loud. I'm going to switch my build back to my Vial Jammer. That's kind of my default build in any type of legendary or heroic. I'm going to equip it with a fire turret because I got a lot of status effect and I have the creeping death, so I'm going to spread fire to everyone. And what's the purpose of the fire? I don't think it damages them any faster than, I think blind works better, but it's an easy fire and forget for me to keep them from charging us. The dog I'm going to get with the pulse, but I like to keep the chargers off of us. You're going to see they eventually come up once the turret runs out. And that's why I have Scorpio. Why don't I run capacitor? Because crowd control. And my build's going to take advantage of status effects. Capacitor makes sense on any heroic and when you have a purely skill damage build. Status effect, not so much. And so if you choose a build like this to play in your group, you're going to normally, you get to play a little bit further up because you have to put the jammer pulse that needs to reach them. My expertise is like 20 and a quarter. So my turret, my regular attack turret, and my regular vial and my regular jammer pulse are both up at level 20. That costs a pretty penny, but it's 20% larger range. I think you get an additional 10% more with range with your might be duration. I'm not sure what you get if you're like level 800 or higher on your watch level. Pulse, throw the turret out, and it's over. So I should be hitting that pulse to keep the little birdies down. And that's doing good. Normally, when you get to this point with this build, you can guarantee your team's going to go to the end, because if they only open one door, you can pulse everything down. It might take a little bit longer, but this group's going to be a little bit faster because they have skilled things they're going to put out there. And the problem for a DPS build is great in here, but they got to go out more. So your healer needs to be more on point. They need to have better builds because they're going to be taking a lot more damage. I've seen it either way. This is going to be pretty laid back. I don't know where that goes. If it was working, then it should put them on fire, but they're not on fire. So I have a feeling that I threw it in a shitty place, so I'm going to kill it. And really here, there's a couple of things. I would say in general, the turret is best paired with this because you're always going to get more damage. On this one, sometimes I throw out the shock traps to put in front of this doorway so no one comes in it. If someone goes in the shock traps and I haven't vial jammer them, they're going to get status effect. And they're going to trigger vial and they're going to die a lot faster. I'm going to put it to Seeker Mines. I don't know how good Seeker is. For a while, I would throw it up. There's my first thing. I just hit it and it's going to hit whatever's out there. I'd love to get some data on how often that hits, like all 9 hit. And that's one of the reasons I really like the Vial Jammer build, because you hit everything. There's no... And it has a little bit of redundancy with Creeping Death. Creeping Death's going to put everyone that gets a status effect on them. They're going to also induce everyone within 5 meters. So potentially you could expand the range. I don't know in the division if there's a maximum number of people you can hit. I'm going to guess it's 9. That's probably the best spot to throw the Seekers. You can see it's going to hit the people up top and the people on the bottom. But I don't think all 9 hit. This build has a fast recharge rate. Normally, a little bit later in the video, I'd say thank you for liking, subscribing, sharing, clicking on the bell to get notification when I'm doing videos. I do a quick short at lunchtime. And in some of my videos, the majority of the videos, I'll talk about a little bit more things than the game. I try to do a legendary every single week. I like doing legendaries. The heroics are too easy. You can use any build. The build doesn't matter. I stopped doing build videos because I'm not going to play all those build videos. I play 3 builds, and that's what I play. And it gets me through all the content. Some builds that are fantastic that didn't make the cut, a yellow ongoing directive. So you're a little more squishy if you always had a healer with you. The ongoing directive puts a bleed on everyone. Plus you have a vial mask, plus you have jammer. You're just non-stop putting havoc all across the battlefield. That is a great build. I have a red build that's outside looking in. It's a red build rolled with a RK backpack. Doesn't matter. Could be arcade, RK, and then the other one is whatever the other armor set that does repair 20% right off the top. I have those 2 pieces, both rolled red, and both of them have repair and probably armor repair on them. And then I rolled 3 pieces of improvised gear. I rolled improvised gear on almost everything. If you're not rolling improvised gear, you're losing out on having 5 to 6 mods. The only thing that's going to change that is if the backpack, the ninja backpack ever works, that would make you not put on an improvised gear. That would make things more interesting. But until it works, for sure 100. I have the ninja backpack on my division character. It's a great set. It's how I built every set in the division. It'd be hard to argue with some of the sets you could make. This part, I'm underneath, so if you look at the battlefield, I get to run up forward, and because the jammer pulse is omnidirectional, it's a sphere, it hits everyone above me, and it's like I'm further out on the battlefield, and I can reach, I think, all the way to the spawn point. Seekers here, I've had good luck, bad luck, but really the best thing is put a turret right up on the corner of that edge of that rectangle building. I don't know what it is. And then you're pretty much set. This is the last area before you go to the boss phase where you can die and it doesn't put you back at the beginning. If you get here and you have Vial Jammer, you can guarantee your team's going to go, because even if they all go down, you can still kill everything. Why don't I run Chem Launcher or, the Hive? The problem with both of those skills are that when you have an all-skill build and you have a fast recharge, you can have more options with more pieces and more of the skills. But if you have one of these skills that, my Hive is either 28 or 32 clicks, you got to wait 28 or 32 clicks till you can change. Much better healing piece in that case is the drone, because it has a 17 second cooldown. Having mud pies or flame or oxidize would be great. Oxidize doesn't work with status builds, so you're really stuck with heals could be one thing. But if I'm going to do heals, I almost always do Hive, because it's fire and forget, and you don't need to be fully charged in the Hive to put the heals back out. Again, I don't have to worry about the Chem Launcher. I don't know if you've seen people with Chem Launchers. Sorry, this is my droning voice. I don't know if you've seen the people with Oxidizer. The people with Oxidizer normally oxidize themselves once or twice. I normally mud myself once or twice. And so here it is. This is the last part. This is super easy. You make a left, you go in here. I always go into this spot. Not everyone knows about it. It's not a better spot. It just gives the healer room to do more heals. Your job in this spot is just to Vial Jammer all the time, and you're throwing a turret out. I normally like to throw the turret out in that area where the Chunga is right now. Sometimes they kick it, But if you put it there, you kind of stop anyone from moving in front of the tent here. I'll eventually throw it there when it goes down. You'll notice we didn't have a lot of deaths here. These are super competent players, know their builds. The lowest level player is a healer, which is, you know, high IQ. Because they award an exotic whether you're healing or doing skill or nothing. This team's so strong, you'll see at a certain point people go out and get re-ammo because we put everyone down so fast. If you have a high-level person with artillery, they usually have a build that's really specified to really get the most out of that, and that really rolls through most content. But don't be surprised if you do a lot of damage with this build because you're hitting every single target AoE. Whatever your damage is, so if you're seeing like the 92, that's 92 times 10. I think this build in general is a 65k. So it does 650k every 11 seconds to all the enemies that it can hit. You put the dogs down. Where are the dogs here? You don't hear them, do you? Well, it's on fast speed, so you're not going to hear them. That's kind of a bullshit thing. Sorry, YouTube. So we're almost near the end. Again, thanks everyone for watching the channel and supporting. I hope to give you these legendary. Hope you're getting something out of this legendary. Hopefully you realize you can do a legendary too, no matter who's in your group. You just got to play a little bit more conservative than you normally do, and things will be okay. And you see that Chunga was lighting me up from that spot. If I was smarter, I would have moved my position when that Chunga went up there. I never thought that they could get me from over there. Usually there's 3 waves, and you can tell them by the Chungas. So if you kill 3 different sets of Chungas, then you pretty much know that you've done through the 3 waves. And so you can kind of hear there's no more dogs, there's no more Chungas. We're getting near the end. Again, this group is fantastic. They stay together as a unit. I can't say enough about the players. If I could run with them again, I would. This was just flawless. And at this point, your runs in Capital, District Union, and Roosevelt should be flawless. They've been played so much. This is Ronin Kazi. Thank you as always. I appreciate everyone. I appreciate that you share the videos and you like them and you comment and you subscribe. Have a good one, YouTube.